Every day is filled with choices. You're here because you're choosing to start with a win. Get ready to be inspired, learn something new, and connect with the Win Nation.
Coming to you from the virtual studio of Start With Win, it's Adam Contos and producer Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing just wonderful. Fantastic.
It seems like we just saw each other on part one of this particular effort here.
It does seem like that.
It does. You took a little vacation between now and then, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I got my tan on. You can kind of see I got a little bit of color from being out in the Anna Maria sun of the Gulf of Florida, which was fantastic.
On the East Coast or there? West Coast of the East Coast.
The West Coast of the East Coast.
Yes. Hey, did you meet anybody while you're out there? Any new people at your restaurant? You know, you're always one of those people that like walks in and goes, "Hello, how you doing, everybody?"
That's right. Yeah, I'm like calling people by their names. I'm making sure to like be interested in them, ask them questions, and not trying to tell them all about me and my amazing adventures and whatnot. So I definitely made some friends and I influenced some people while I was there as well.
It sounds like you listened to part one of this two-part series.
I sure did. And if you haven't listened to part one, if you're listening to this and be like, what, part one? You need to go back next week and listen to part one and then come back here and listen to part two.
Okay, so let's review part one here real quick. I mean, you kind of went through it there with your visit to the West Coast of the East Coast. But, I mean, really, I love this quote in the whole thing. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Mm-hmm. Which basically means don't criticize or complain. Go in with some gratitude, for crying out loud. So we got that one, give honest and sincere appreciation. Arouse in the other person an eager want. And then the second part of the first part is there are really 6 ways to get people to like you, okay? Become genuinely interested in people like you just talked about. Here's a good one, especially now that we're not really wearing COVID masks anymore. Smile.
Yes.
It's, yay. I mean, come on, show a little love there. So, and then remember the person's name is the sweetest sound that they've ever heard. So, and then be a good listener, talk in terms of their interest. Don't talk about you. Ask questions about them and actually care about that other person and their interests. And then the last of those 6 principles is make the other person feel important and do it sincerely, for crying out loud. Care. I mean, it's not too much to ask. So that's the first part of the 2-part series. We're talking about a lot of part 1 and part 2 here. You ready to jump into the second part?
Yeah, lay it on me. I'm ready for the next round of wisdom.
Okay, so this is really about how to win people to your way of thinking. So now we're getting into this influence people part, right? And
we've won them as a friend,
yes,
and now we want to influence.
Yeah. So the first thing let's talk about here is arguing. Okay. Let's just make this simple. You can't win an argument. Don't try. So, and there's like this old martial arts saying, the best fight won is the fight never fought. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. That's the first principle here, okay? Next one is you should show respect to other people's opinions. Don't ever tell somebody they're wrong. Appreciate the fact that they have their own opinions. Really there's a certain degree of satisfaction for you and for them. It's kind of strange how that happens when somebody admits that they're wrong. So, I mean, that's an important part of this whole thing. The whole thing, influencing people is being humble. I mean, for crying out loud, it's right here behind me.
That's right.
Okay? Stay hungry, stay humble. Influencing people means you have to be willing to say, you know what, I was wrong. Okay? So that's a big part of this. So another thing, begin in a friendly way. We talked about smiling before, right? Why not be friendly? It's, I love to hang out with happy people. And I walked into a store the other day and Maggie, our daughter, Maggie from the podcast.
That's right. She was on the show.
Maggie Contos, who was on the show, my rock star, one of my 3 rock stars. I think she plays, the drums or something in the rock band. But Maggie was so nice to these people. She's like, the people are like, hey, how are you? And she's like, amazing. I'm going, I love that. You just started this conversation in a great way. Begin in a friendly way. I mean, this is so important. And then here's one. Influencing people. This is fascinating. When you start influencing people, get them to say yes. Get them to say yes. And like hey, Mark, it's a beautiful day outside, isn't it? You're like, yeah, it is. You're agreeing with me, right?
Yeah.
See, you just did it again.
You're getting me to say yes.
Now, here's the next thing. Let the other person do most of the talking now. Let them do the talking and deliver the ideas.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now they're in the captain's seat of this whole conversation, doing the talking and delivering ideas. This is how influence works. It's called ownership. Ownership. So these people are developing ownership in this idea and the delivery of this and the agreeable aspects of it. And you're sitting there going, I like this, because your work is almost done.
Yeah.
Of really the whole how to win friends. We talked about that. Step one, influence people. They're the ones in charge now. Mm-hmm. And it's a mutual conversation. And it will just take this another one deeper. Okay. Sympathize. And then allow them to see your ideas and maybe throw down a challenge or something like that. Now, here's an interesting thing to think about when it comes to winning friends and influencing people. The reality is they don't care about your thoughts until you care about theirs. And somebody has to take that first step.
Right. Right.
Somebody has to take that first step about caring about the other person's thoughts. It's caring about them before you believe they care about you. It's a giving. This is a giving game. It's a giving game. So that was the first half of influencing people. So,
but wait, there's more.
There is more. Let's say you have to call attention to somebody's mistakes, because there's going to be stuff that you disagree with. This is the hard part. Mm-hmm. This is really the hard part. Nobody wants to be blamed. And in fact, it's human nature to blame people first. If there's something that's not right, not particularly the way that you want, you start blaming people. It's genetic. We seek blame on a person. But if you actually look for the framework of what's going on and call praise and appreciation to their efforts, you talk about the process, not the people. Have you ever heard of the term or heard the word need and have it used in order? You need to do this.
Oh, yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Like I don't want to do it.
Right. Oh, my wife's listening to this because she's like, don't ever use that word in that context.
Well, you need to.
Yeah, exactly. That's giving orders, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody likes to be given orders. Everybody likes to have questions.
Right.
Because they get to contribute when they have questions. They get beaten down when they get orders. If there's a problem or something, a task that needs to be undertaken, instead of going in and saying, well, you need to do this and I need to do that, even just if it's mutual need, it's better received by somebody if the question comes out of, hey, what do you think the best way is to accomplish this? What do you think? How do you think we ought to start this? A little more soft, a little more ego saving.
Yeah.
But no orders. And what that does is it lets the other person save face. Okay? Allows them to save face. What is saving face really? It's protecting your ego.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So we, as the understanding in this conversation of how to win friends and influence people, need to understand that our ego is sacrificial in this whole thing. Our ego is sacrificial. Okay, so now here's we're involved in a situation together. I'm influencing people. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you think? We've gone through a challenge. We've gone through, okay, how do we break this down? How do we do it? We've come up with a framework for solutions. What do you think would be a good thing for me to throw in there now? And a lot of managers forget this part. Encouragement.
Oh yeah. Big
encouragement. Have you ever put your kids to work on something? It's hard. And they're like, this is frustrating, whatever. And you can sit there and you can watch them get frustrated or whatever, knowing, okay, eventually they're going to figure it out. And you can go, let them figure it out. Or you can go in and go, hey, I was just watching and I saw this and you did a really good job on that. So well done. I mean, that puts some gas in the tank, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, and that like motivates them to continue to be working and pushing forward. When I was a kid, I got the opposite.
So let's wrap this baby up, okay?
Okay.
Let's wrap
Put
this
a bow
thing
on
up.
it.
Yes. So we want people to really start understanding. I mean, we come into this not knowing somebody, not trusting somebody, not understanding how they see their world. So we have to come in and we have to emotionally connect, utilizing things such as their name, utilizing, gratitude and appreciation and attention and asking about them and finding out about their cares and really connecting. So now we're on the same team. Now we have tasks. So we've met them. Winning friends. Influencing people comes down to, all right, do we argue with them? No. Let's establish a framework for success together. And that's ultimately what we're working on here, is establishing a framework for success together. That's what this book is about, is building great teams as somebody who's the influential aspect of the team. And you help develop that other person into a hungry, humble, again, right up there behind me, human being that wants to be mutually accepting and mutually progressive in the challenges together. There's a lot of good stuff in this about that. That's where we're getting to here. And of course, it ends with reward. Reward. We have to give each other a pat on the back. We have to appreciate each other. We have to thank each other for putting forth that effort. But we also, when you look at the big picture, raise the bar in your own performance. Mm-hmm. Because when you are there working this way with that person, they will perform at the level that both of you work towards.
Yeah.
So that's how you win friends and influence people, Mark.
It's fantastic. I think, I hope this was very helpful for anyone who is listening who hasn't read the book yet. If you haven't read the book, it's a great read. And, don't forget to go on to startwithawin.com. There you can get more content. Also, if you'd like to ask Adam a question, tell us your Start With a Win story. Give us a call and leave us a message at 888-581-4430. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast, subscribe. Go over to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to the show. And until next time, start with a win.
Hey, how is it that we subscribe to this YouTube channel again? The subscribe button?
That's right, the subscribe button.
And we hit the bell to be notified of future episodes coming out?
That's right.
Genius. Who came up with that?
Google.
The people at the G.
That's right. Okay, hey, if anyone's hanging out past the recording here, I'm gonna ask you a question from the conversation cards, Adam.
Oh boy.
We'll see what we got here. Okay, let's see. Okay. I can't ask
Wait,
that
hang on.
one.
Let me get ready here.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Fire away.
Would you rather have a head the size and shape of a baseball or a loaf of bread?
Oh, boy. I'm going to go with a loaf of bread.
That's right, because you could actually deceive people until you turn sideways.
Yeah, I think a loaf of bread wouldn't be too bad unless you... Well, it'd be the size and shape. It's not really a loaf of bread. But, yeah, I would go with that. People would be like, whoa, that guy's brainy. Whereas if you had a baseball, they'd be like, is there anything in there?
Yeah, it would probably be hard to find hats and...
Yeah, you know, at least if it was like, well, you could wear a baseball glove on your head.
Yeah, that's true. So ridiculous. That's good.
Who came up with these? That's the Brand Viva podcast. Somebody at Brand Viva had to come up with that.
They're meant to stoke laughter and conversation, which I believe they just have.
That worked.
It worked. But hey, if you're watching us here on YouTube, thanks for being here, and feel free to leave comments below the video, ask any questions you may have, or give us some feedback. Always welcome. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button because that helps the algorithm share our content with more people. And yeah, like Adam said earlier, subscribe and hit the little bell icon because it'll notify you every time we upload a new episode. All right, guys. Hey, until next time, we'll see you when we see you.
See ya.
And we're out.